ever get the feeling, like some people they just have this knack for getting what they want, like some secret playbook for power?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, today, we're cracking open that playbook. Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
Oh, it's a fascinating read. A little unnerving at times, you know. Greene doesn't shy away from the more cunning side of power, even ruthless. He's pulling from history, philosophy, even military strategy to lay out these laws.
Oh, it's a wild ride for sure. And we are diving deep using these excerpts you gave us. But just a heads up for our listeners, this isn't your typical self-help book, right?
Right.
This is like the kind of power moves that built empires or toppled them.
It really gets at the mechanics of influence, those unspoken rules, you know, when the stakes get high, how do people actually behave?
Exactly. So let's jump right in. Law 6. Court attention at all cost. Greene says just being good at what you do, not enough. You got to be seen, be memorable. And his example, P.T. Barnum, the showman.
Oh, Barnum, master of buzz. He knew how to create a spectacle, something people wouldn't forget, even if it meant stirring up a little controversy along the way. Which, let's be honest, even today, we're drawn to the unusual, the dramatic. That's what grabs us.
It's that saying, no such thing as bad publicity. Barnum was the king of headlines. But how does this work now? I mean, today, everyone's vying for attention.
It's more relevant now, I'd say. Think about it. Personal branding, influencers, everyone fighting to stand out online. It's all about crafting that persona that pops, that makes people stop scrolling.
Makes you think about those Instagram feeds, right? Are we all just playing by Law 6 without realizing it? But courting attention, that can backfire too if you're not.
Oh, absolutely. It's a tightrope. Greene isn't saying go out there and be reckless. It's about being aware of how you're making an impact, being remembered for the right reasons.
All right, so walking that fine line. Now, onto a law that might make some people squirm a little. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Ethically speaking.
Yeah, this one raises some eyebrows for sure. And Greene knows it can be abused. His example is Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. Two brilliant minds, but a complicated collaboration. Or maybe clash is more accurate.
Edison, he was a genius, but yeah, notoriously ruthless too. And Tesla, so many innovations, but often overshadowed.
Exactly. Edison was great at spotting talent, but he also took credit, maybe more than his fair share. You know?
Yeah.
So it's Law 7 in action.
Yeah.
The brilliance and the potential for, well, taking advantage.
And today, with startups, intellectual property, it's cutthroat. How many Edisons are out there right now built on the backs of Teslas we never hear about?
It's something to think about. How do you balance collaboration with making sure everyone gets what they deserve? Greene wants us to be mindful of that for sure.
That sweet spot between talent and credit where credit's due. Okay, switching gears totally. Law 12 almost sounds too simple. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Kindness as a weapon.
This one gets into the psychology of it all. Reciprocity. Greene says a well-timed act of generosity, it can really lower someone's defenses, makes them vulnerable. He even uses a con artist as an example, Yellow Kid Weil.
So not actual kindness, but as a tactic, like a Trojan horse.
Exactly. Weil was great at building trust, these acts of generosity. But think about it. When we feel indebted to someone, our guard comes down. We're more open to requests, even if, ultimately, it benefits them more.
Little unsettling, right? We think of kindness as good, but Greene's saying it can be a tool too.
It's a reminder to be discerning. Who's being altruistic and who's playing a deeper game?
This is where the 48 Laws gets really interesting. Makes you question everything, see the world a little more cynically, or maybe realistically.
It's about seeing those power dynamics at work, everywhere. And that awareness, that's powerful in itself.
Speaking of questioning everything, Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude.
Oh, this one's all about framing, how you phrase those requests, you know. Greene says, forget obligation, forget pity. It's about what's in it for them.
So not, hey, can you do me a favor? More like, I've got this opportunity, could really benefit you.
Spot on. You're selling the benefit to them. Greene uses the Athenians back during the Peloponnesian War. They were known for being pragmatic. Knew that appealing to self-interest, way more effective than like sentimentality or favors.
It's about knowing what makes people tick, their motivations.
Exactly. And honestly, everyone's driven by self-interest to some degree, even if they don't admit it.
Cynical, but probably true. Okay, Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. This one sounds a bit more,
A little ominous.
Yeah.
This one goes into the shadier side of things. Everyone's got a weakness, right? A fear, a secret desire. something that can be used.
Like that saying, everyone's got a price.
Right. Greene says, find that vulnerability, leverage it, you gain the upper hand. Use Lola Montez as an example. 19th century dancer, courtesan. Rumor was she had powerful men wrapped around her finger.
Lola Montez, the OG femme fatale.
Exactly. She knew that real power, it's not always about force, it's about influence. Knowing how to manipulate those in charge.
So, persuasion, subtlety.
Yeah.
Getting people to do what you want without them even realizing.
You got it. Everyone has their pressure points. It's about finding them and knowing how much pressure to apply.
This is what's so fascinating about these laws.
Right.
Peeking behind the scenes of how power really works, those unspoken rules, you know?
And that awareness, being able to spot it, that's incredibly valuable. Means you don't get played so easily.
Yeah.
And, well, you could use it yourself if you wanted to.
Speaking of spotting tactics, Law 17, keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Okay, that sounds intense.
This is about keeping people on their toes. Never let them get too comfy. Humans, we crave predictability, right?
Yeah.
We like to feel in control. But if you throw in uncertainty, your opponents, they're off balance.
Like in chess, you got to be thinking several moves ahead. What's the other guy going to do?
Exactly. Greene uses Stonewall Jackson, the general. He was famous for this in the Civil War. Unorthodox tactics always kept the Union guessing.
Brilliant military mind, Stonewall Jackson. He knew surprise. That element of the unknown, it was as good as having a bigger army sometimes.
Totally. His movements, never predictable, which meant the enemy that are always reacting, never got a chance to take the initiative.
So not just being unpredictable to be unpredictable, it's strategic. Keep them guessing.
Exactly. Create that unease, that low-level anxiety. Your opponent's never fully secure.
Man, this is Machiavellian stuff.
It is. But also a good reminder, that surprise, it's a powerful tool in negotiations, competition, anything.
This deep dive is really making me rethink, like, everything I thought I knew about power. It's not just about being the loudest or the strongest.
Right. Sometimes it's about subtlety, psychology, understanding what really makes people tick.
And that's what makes the 48 Laws so fascinating. It's not just a tyrant's handbook. It's about those hidden forces, you know, the things that shape how the world actually works.
And that awareness, that's powerful in itself.
It's like Greene's pulling back the curtain, showing us how the magic trick works.
Right. It's not some mystical thing, power. It's a system. Strategies. You can learn it, understand it, even master it if you want to.
That's both kind of cool and kind of scary, right? Like, these laws are working all the time, whether we realize it or not.
It's true. But like they say, knowledge is power. The more you see these dynamics, the better you navigate them. Could be climbing the ladder at work. Could just be figuring out why your neighbor's acting shady.
So how do we use this? All these 48 laws, we can't just walk around manipulating everyone.
Of course not. Greene himself says, you got to use this stuff ethically. This isn't about being a dictator. It's about understanding people and then achieving your goals in a way that, you know, it's not hurting others. Ideally, it's helping them too.
So ambition, but with empathy. Getting ahead, but not being a jerk.
Exactly. Use these laws to be a better leader, a more persuasive person, just a more insightful human, you know?
Man, this deep dive has been eye-opening. Like, I'm seeing power totally differently now.
That's what we were going for. Greene's book, it can be a lot to take in, so we wanted to boil it down, the core stuff.
Well, mission accomplished. So as we wrap up on the 48 Laws of Power, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all this?
That power, by itself, it's not good or bad. It's just a tool, like a hammer. You can build a house or you can break something. The key is be aware of it, how it works, and then use it wisely, responsibly.
Well said. So to everyone listening, go check out the 48 Laws yourself. Might surprise you, what you learn about yourself, about other people, and just how the world really works behind the scenes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep that power of knowledge on your side.